Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deeply Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deeply Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 372. Today is Saturday, June 5th, 2021, and I'm glad you could join me today. I was laughing a little bit because I realized that my chair orientation is different than my other chair orientation. And I also totally neglected to pull out my tripod, so I'm just going with this and it'll be fine. I was actually sitting down and doing some stash dash calculations, so I was trying to get a sense for what it was that I had finished last week and what the yardage was, and let's just say, what would it be? I don't know. My mind is all over the place. What would it be? The other thing is that it is like super duper ridiculously chaotic in here right now. I really need to bring that down in here, though. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But yeah, so that's why there is a perspective change, because we're more straight on today, and that'll be fine. Might even work better. So I did manage to finish 2 things this week. Since recording last, now obviously last weekend was Memorial Day weekend, so long weekend, good fun, lots of hanging to be had. And I did manage to repair my fingerless gloves. So I knit these fingerless gloves, or would it be? I have knit these fingerless gloves since starting the podcast, and you can see this slightly darker finger going on here, and that is because the cast-off edge and a little bit into it had burst. Not quite sure what went down. I don't think I zipped it into anything, because I seldom ever use the zipper on my coat. But what it did mean was that I got like 0.93% of my way through Stash Dash. Yeah, I'll just pull up the statistics. So I just assumed that I'd use the same number of yards that I had originally done for the mitts. So that counted as 133.1, or 0.89% of the Stash Dash total. So I did end up having to rip back actually a few rows before I actually got to good, clean knitting, and hopefully in time, whatever, this will fade. This is actually a pretty common problem with superwash yarns, actually, is that because superwash yarns take dye so quickly, they tend to dye at the surface, and so then as you wear and use your superwash stuff, the color will fade, and so places that actually see like abrasion and wear will end up being a lighter color than places that don't see it. So the hands of these gloves have seen quite a lot. The backs of them, not so much. So they are still pretty close to the right color, but then there's maybe like a little bit in here. I think I intended to wash these and then totally forgot. But I am back in business again, so this is would be really nice for having touch while knitting, for driving around, all of that fun stuff. I think I've worn them while riding the bike, because it's perpetually early spring here, so. There was a debate today about if we should bike ride today or tomorrow. It's going to be a high of 63 tomorrow instead of a high of 61 today, but it won't be as sunny tomorrow. Whatever. So it'll be fine. But this counted for, whatever, a small percentage of the Stash Dash total. But this guy counts for way more. So I did finish the sweater, and it really needs a block. But this is my handspun hinterland that I made out of some Nest Fiber Studio Nestlets in a warm color palette, and Three Waters Farm Background Blue in Fin. So we have got it going on here, kids. So the cuffs are slightly different colors, but that's not the end of the world. I did do my signature bind off in the contrast color, and I can quick pull it on. But it is pretty clear to me at this point that it will need blocking. So this might be the reason why I normally go a little bit further away. It actually has quite a bit of positive ease in it, and that was what I was going for with this one. But yeah, no, there's just like a little pucker in the ribbing, and there is a little pucker in the color work that I think will work out with blocking. So I don't think I'm going to take proper FO pictures until after I get this blocked, which probably involves finding the best possible way to dry things, because man, I did some washing, I think Sunday, and it took until Thursday, and things were still damp. So it was the case where I had to pull out the things I thought could survive the dryer and the things I thought could not, and move them in different places of the house. So I think I have a towel that I need to like squeeze like 90% of the water out of the sweater with. And I also need to clear the bed, because like when I'm talking about chaos here, guys, so much chaos. Like it's all delightful, fibery chaos, but it's a little crazy in here. Oh well. So, sweater is done. It turned out, after I did my calculations, because I ended up figuring out yardage used by subtraction, so I gained up the leftovers, and I actually had pretty close to the same amount of leftovers for both, so it was, what would it be? So it turned out that I had 345.75 yards of the blue and 353.25 of the red. And when you subtracted that, I ended up getting 1,488, which when you convert to meters is 1,373, which counts as 9.6% of the way to stash victory. So pretty good thing there. It means I'm up to 10,777.1 meters. So over the 10K mark at this point, looking really good for me to easily exceed that. Yeah, so that was exciting. What would it be? As I was skating this, I'm like, oh man, some of the more purpley colors ended up in this part of this game, but it's okay. So I used about 3 ounces of the red, and I'm not sure how much of the blue I ended up using of the 12 I started with, but I have plenty of leftovers of both. I wouldn't have wanted to make it. I wouldn't have wanted to make this bigger. I did use my original yoke sweater as sort of a guide for what I wanted the distance to be. So because it is more positive ease, it does like to lift up a little bit more than my favorite one does, because that one, the yoke is really up in the armpit. This one, it's further out in space. What would it be? So what I ended up doing was I had to ignore Jen Steingass's instructions, and I ended up knitting it to like 13.5 inches. Yeah, I did 13.5 inches from the armpit here, and then I did 2 inches of ribbing after that. I'm pretty happy with that. I mistakenly knit most of the ribbing on triple zeros. I forgot that I actually had a double zero teeny circ, and that's what I did the sleeve ribbing on. And I totally just blanked on the right thing and grabbed the triple zero interchangeable and knit the ribbing on that. So it's a very tight and neat ribbing indeed. And then I did the bind off and the double zero just to, it's sometimes nice when you're doing the bind off just to have a little needle that you're working the bind off on separate from the big needle with all the stitches. So I wrapped this up Thursday. It looked like I was going to fall off the bed. So I wrapped this up Thursday. I haven't felt like weaving the ends in yet. But hand spun sweater complete. So just a block away from true victory. And then I probably ended up screwing up a little bit because I intended to snip a little bit of the blue yarn in order to, do just like a little bit of duplicate stitch in the armpit area. No matter how careful I am, there's always just a little bit of wonkiness from that transition from sweater to made stitches. So it's okay. In terms of modifications to the pattern, I ended up calculating basically my bust differential. So after I figured out sort of what the yoke total depth was when I separated for the sleeves, I made it so that I had 3 more inches in the front than the back. And so that makes the back very smooth and flat indeed. Very nice. I know if it makes the front like a little bit more loosey-goosey or something, but whatever. I definitely got lots of admirers while I was waiting in the pharmacy. You know, it's pretty terrible when you wait like 2 months to fill a prescription. It was $5. Oh well. And it was an ordeal. Like, I spent an hour and a half trying to get that stupid $5 prescription. Oh my gosh. What's nice about it is that there is a nice, free, easy parking lot that you can go to. What's not so nice is that it is generally always a shit show there. Yeah, no. Like, yeah. So I got there, finally got the pharmacy tech person to understand I was just trying to fill it. Then they never called my name when it came available, so then I had to wait in line again to get it, and boy. I don't do it right, but I don't need to get prescriptions very often, so it's like, whatever. So, oh well, hopefully, or whatever. I have no doubt that it'll work. It's just very different from my lifestyle right now. Oh well. But that, I managed to get a lot of ribbing done while I was waiting for that. Yes. So, hinterland is done. Some finishing needs to happen. Hopefully I feel like doing it soon. I think the odds of me actually going in to block it soon are high because I would really like to get nice photos of it while the sun is shining. And I'm just very excited about how everything ended up turning out. So that is cool. What would it be? And that was like most of the exciting knitting this week. There was definitely like a moment. So after I finally got to like the right length for the ribbing, whatever, I'll just leave it on. Everyone will know that it is complete, even though we can't see the hem, because I could have worn it like this too. during times in which I could not bear to do it any longer, I did work on this. Like basically, what would it be? You're like, okay, this 1x1 rib is getting a little boring. Like, I just need to do something different. And stocking it in the round was what I chose to do instead. So once I got to the ribbing, then I was able to do my needle transfer. So I picked up the stitches on this boxy using probably my US 1.5 needles, just because it's a little bit easier when you have smaller needles to pick something up. But I knit the body of this sweater with my 3mm needles, my US 2.5s. So I needed to get the 2.5s off this onto the 000s as a mistake, and then get that needle onto this. So I managed to execute on all of those things, and I'm now happily working in the round until it feels like it's been long enough. And so what I have going on is I have markers from where I'd previously started the short rows. I have so I have markers where I previously started the short rows. I have marker, or would it be? I'm pretty sure I have the split reasonably right, I don't know. So I have marker, basically what I did was it was like, okay, here's where the short rows began, and then just worked vertically up and then marked them like that. And then I ended up doing all the ribbing, which I think I talked about previously. And then what I did was I just sort of left those removable markers in there so that I could measure from where I had previously started the short rows before. So we've got a very dark marker on very dark yarn here. Barely see that. And then I have a marker lined up with that. So this means that I can keep this marker in place, and so I can do measurements from it. But then I have this other one that's actually in the body of the knitting, which is easier to see. And I may need to like sit down and briefly verify that all of my short row plans are okay. But the plan is to do shrinking short rows this time. So it should be the case where it's probably at some sort of, what would it be? So some percentage inside from the dead middle. And then what I'll do is I'll just keep working short rows until I hit the gray yarn again, and then I will immediately launch into knitting, or immediately launch into ripping. Checking my notes, I have no record of what needle size I used for the ripping. I'll pick something that looks good. I don't think I used a US 2. It might be the case where I used a 1.5 or a 1. I don't know. Whatever, we'll make it work. It might just be where I decide to do just keep using the 3mm needles for that. Who knows? But it's not very exciting knitting, but there is comfort in this boring knitting as well, so I'm okay with that. And I managed to get a decent amount done considering, so there's like probably at least an inch. Looking for a tape measure. I swear I saw one somewhere in here. And I'm probably gonna have to put this in a bag soon. I swear I saw one somewhere. Oh, good. I see one here. It's like somewhere in here is a tape measure, which is exciting. So, like, I've done a decent amount, all things considered. So I am like 1.25 inches into it now, so that's not too crazy. I think what I'm going to do, or my plan right now, is to do 2 inches and then start doing the short rows. And then I'll do like a quick little check to make sure, oh, see, I should have held up these markers, so be like, you can actually see. You can actually see these guys. Well, so I'm planning on doing 2 inches because I think that's what I did before. And then I'm just going to work the short rows until then, and then I'll launch into the ribbing, and it will be lovely. So not too crazy. Might have done twisted ribbing on this. Looks very tidy on the outside. I'm not sure whether or not I want to go back to my old episodes and whatever, do that archaeological mission, because I'm pretty sure ribbing was not Hohi's preferred edge treatment for this. But who knows? My previous boxy I did not do ribbing on. I did garter, which was good. It was fine. But may as well be consistent about this one. So it was a very different boxy. But I am very excited to be able to pack that boxy and bring it to a new location. Very exciting indeed. So this is Now Getting Love. I don't think it'll be I don't think it'll be too terribly long to finish the repair on this sweater, and then it'll be a matter of trying to figure out exactly how much yarn I ended up using in the end. I don't know, this one might be more challenging because I don't necessarily have stash level details upon it like I do other things. Or I'll have to figure out how much I didn't use by looking at what's in the stash. I do have, or I can't remember if I ended up having any leftovers of the gray. So it may just be a straight up skein count and get sort of close, because there certainly is quite a lot of yarn in this because I'm holding it doubled and there's a lot of area here, but it will be good for points. Maybe I can sit down and calculate maybe how much yardage this would count for. And of course it's always very exciting to take something that you're not super duper happy with and make it right. So there is that. I'm trying to think of what else here. So this is the V-neck boxy by Hohi Locatelli, and I am knitting it with Shibui Knits Silk Cloud and Shibui Knits Pebble, which is a merino cashmere silk, and then the Silk Cloud is a mohair silk. And this is super duper lovely, and I don't think there was very much bad stuff happened because I ended up ripping it out. It was just the case where I needed to be patient and gently detangle whenever the mohair was trying to make love with itself and the stitches around it. Oh yeah, no, this is definitely, there's way more stitches on the other sides of these markers, so it should be good. Yeah, no, so I've come across one join and I managed to handle that well enough, and I have it rolled up into a giant ball because everything that was together is staying together and there's no need to separate. So this, I don't know, we'll see how much knitting love this ends up getting or what project I end up focusing on more as time goes by. But I think in my giant stash room cleanup that just needs to happen today. So, still a big bowl. I'll probably end up transferring the sweater into this bag since it's already out and it's big enough for what I need to do. but that should be worth a lot of yardage, and that'll be good. The final knitting project is my What the Fade. So this is an Andrea Mowry pattern that I am no longer following. So at some point I was supposed to switch to garter, but I didn't feel like doing that, so I'm just continuing to fade the colors together. And so I have a cool side and I have a warm side. So on the warm side it's Firecracker, Orange Tabby, Patisserie, and we're back into Firecracker again. And on the cool side it is Ice Skating Party, Naive Watercolor, Blue Rinse, and I'm back into Ice Skating Party again. So I do need to cut off, I may as well just do it right now. If I can find what I'm looking for. Where, oh where? The stuff I'm looking for. There's all sorts of mysterious things in my bag right now. I might also need to clean up. I don't know. We managed to move something that was very much so in the way of a lot of things out of the way. I don't think we've dealt with the root cause of the problem, but would it be? But it'd be the case where I think that's where I'm at right now. Is like, okay, what is here and doesn't need to be? And eventually this will lead to answering the question of, does this even need to be here at all? But I don't know, baby steps. So, not too crazy. I still need to do the row back on the red here. And it's definitely pretty scrunched up onto the needles right now, but not too crazy. So this is pretty stark. Would it be? I did manage to get a good fade between the Firecracker and Orange Tabby, but the Patisserie, not so much. But I do love them in the background. I think it works out really, really great that way. So I didn't get a lot done this week. I basically got like one full row and half a pass back. I'm like barely worth moving the marker here. Yeah, for the most part, this was just a thing because I wanted to focus on the sweater so that I would give myself plenty of runway to finish the boxy. And would it be this project, while already huge, is still pretty far away from being done. So it made sense to shift focus for a little while, get this off the needles, get that properly on the needles again so that could eventually go back to this. And so this can be slightly more interesting knitting, and that can be whatever, slightly more boring knitting depending on what I need. And then in the meantime, I can just wildly dream about what projects I want to do next. Because it's also worth noting that there was a lot of fiber prep that happened this week, but absolutely no spinning. So the spinning wheel is empty. Like, look at that. Look at that bear flyer. And so what probably needs to happen is I just need to pick something from the stash and go for it. But the thing, so like what? Last week I laid out the whole stash, took a photo of it, pulled out things that I wanted to, or tried to figure out pairings of things in order to do, tried to figure out pairings of things so that I could do something with, just to put things together in the stash. And now it was like, oh, but then I made those my Tour de Fleece plans. Tour de Fleece doesn't start till the end of June, so what am I going to spend in the meantime? So I spent a decent amount of this week doing fiber prep. And actually I should grab both of those. It's a little challenging grabbing. So this is the first thing that I ended up doing. So I took, and I did a live of this. I don't think it's too terribly distorted. So what I did was I had 6 ounces of Black Bunny Merino Alpaca and 4 ounces of fiber optic Polworth silk. And what I did was I split it into 10 pieces, then 20 pieces, and then I combined them into 1 ounce bats. So I did a layered bat, and I sort of figured out as I was going sort of what ended up making the most attractive one. But it's all going to spin together anyways, so I'm sure it was not too crazy. And as is typical, this is definitely purple. The Blue Bunny definitely leans towards a redder purple, and the fiber optic had like sunset colors in it, so it had red, orange, midnight blue, and a purple in it. But it just looks blue here, doesn't it? With like a little bit of hint of that stuff in it. So I have 10 of these balls. The thought process would be to spin for like a big juicy shawl. I was a little worried about it, but I'm happy now. So, joke. Now, this was a dyeing project. So on Sunday or Monday, I don't know, whatever, it was a long weekend. I took my Bungalow Farms Merino Alpaca, or Merino Angora. So it was a 50-50 blend of Merino and German Angora. German Angoras need to be sheared. And what I ended up doing was I put it in the dye pot, and I ended up doing 3/4 of a teaspoon of Wilton's Violet and everything that I had left of my blue gel. And that was more like a drip gel sort of thing. And what I got here is a blurple. Believe me, it's blurple. We're in purple denial here with the webcam. This is purple. I'm just okay with this purple. Oh, right, because it's red number 3 and it does not acknowledge blue and red number 3 together. So I had 4 ounces of this that I ended up dyeing. It's already been through 1 pass of the drum carder. I decided that it needed 1 more pass. There's definitely some very bright blue in this, which I'm really liking, but I do, or would it be? So it was sort of the case where it was a recreation of one of the shades that I ended up creating for my big fleece to sweater spin that I finished last October. So this was sort of the same sort of color palette. I was hoping that I had some black, but I didn't. So that would have also made it a little bit more dark and moody. But it was a good little dyeing project. At this point, all I have is liquid food coloring left. And then the dye powder that I still haven't turned into stock yet. But I have a bunch of basically ripped bats of this. I sort of mixed them, or what would it be, split them into quarters and then put them sort of into 2 piles so that I can make 2 ounce bats with it. And the plan is to do either a combo spin or apply it together with some other bats I bought. And we're pretty close to the top. So I have this grays with teals and sort of this tealy blue one. So unfortunately, Hobbledy Hoy is no longer carding and dyeing, but this gray one is organic Polworth wool bamboo, tinsel, more bamboo, silk, and sparkle. And this one is Pulverth, bamboo, and sari silk. So I'm going to combine that with the merino angora, and we'll see what happens. I'm excited though. I figure it adds the right sort of mystery to it, having sort of that earthly color. So it'll look nice with the gray and the teals too. But that was also a project that I intended to do for Tour de Fleece. And then I'd also pulled out something which was, what would it be, like more of like a sweater spin. And I'm not 100% sure how I wanted to approach that yet. Maybe it's a carving project as well, I don't know. It might be like a pretty good test bed. The thought process being if I want to have a layered bat sort of thing, and how that would end up looking. So it'd be the case where I think what I would do is I have equal parts of my own dyed wool and then Hello Yarn. I have 2 bumps of that. So I have 8 ounces of my own dyed wool that I did in a blue with some grays. I think the intent was actually to get like a gradient with that, but and then the other ones are sort of gorgeous shades of like green and brown and blue in it. So, or would it be? I can definitely see making like a layered bat with that. And whatever, seeing how that spins up. They're all colors I already like. Would it be? It'd probably end up being a fairly simple and straightforward sweater, but who knows? I guess it also depends on the weight I end up creating as well. Whatever. I think the sweater has definitely proved that like pound is plenty, especially if I spin fairly fine. What would it be? So I haven't decided yet. Would it be? And it could just be where all of the knitting plans that I have gathered together become completely derailed. But we haven't reached that stage quite yet. But it would be the case where what is it? I don't know if I'm going to spontaneously decide to cast on things that are totally out of character as well. We shall see. Would it be? It'd be the case where I am very, very glad to have a good size superwash wool stash. As you do. Would it be? But yeah, no, there's just like so much chaos around me right now. I might rewind this ball before I put it away, and this one too. I pulled this out for sock repair and this one out for the glove repair, so then I don't know if I'm going to then decide to just pull some links and then use it up in something. Actually, they look like really good together, don't they? This is out of character colors for sure. Whatever. What would it be? Like, it'd be the case where right now, it's just the case where I now have this, what would it be? Unreasonable fixation on my dyed Volmisa DK, which, what would it be? And Then also there's this fixation with this skein I just finished from fiber optic. I feel like, oh, this makes me incredibly happy. And I think would make an absolutely fantastic hat. So who knows how long I will be able to resist the siren call of new projects. We shall see. I think part of this was just that it's taking so long too, or would it be? It took a pretty long time to knit this sweater, so what would it be? I started this one in mid-March. I don't know why it took so long. Whatever. Other I think because I was on a handspun kick, and this is the end of the handspun kick for now. And then I'll have to figure out if I have a different handspun kick that is brewing instead. So I don't know if I should just pull out. I have like 2 superwash braids in my fiber stash right now. So I don't know if I just want to pull that as interim spinning, as you do. The other thing that was coming up was Mars of Hay Brownberry was doing a summer spindle along, and that starts in mid-June. So it may be the case where I just have to hold my horsies for like another couple of days. And then I can start, would it be the Merino, Angora, and Pullerworth bamboo silk bat spin for then. Maybe it is aggressive to think I'm going to spin 8 ounces during the summertime on spindles, but for some reason it is attractive to me. Or it's the case where I can definitely see a situation in which I'm doing like drafted together spinning with them. That sounds really exciting and fun. Whatever. But I'm definitely feeling the spindle project right now for some reason. I feel like I should be more efficient, but sometimes it's just for the joy of it and for the shoulder work that doing spindles does. It doesn't do anything for this one, but this shoulder is loose and free. This one's the broken one. It's my knitting shoulder. Oh well. Is my spinning? Yeah, it might be my spinning. Ooh. Better to do this. But yeah, no, so that is where I'm at right now. We'll find out if I spontaneously cast on my Woolmisa DK or not. Who knows? Maybe the case where what would it be? I should probably just hold my horses. It'll be fun. Just the process. But today definitely involves some room cleaning. I may one of the things that I would like to do is to hop onto Instagram Live and do a little demo of drum carding my bats up, so that could be fun. But I will probably do that while this podcast is processing and whatnot. So this is just late news. I am known as Deepbluerenegade on Instagram as well, and I try to do fun things there. My phone's been acting really weird. I don't know if it's escalated to the point of needing to be replaced, but the battery management seems to be a little strange. And Instagram doesn't seem to be working super duper great with it. And then I have like a whole backlog of posts that I want to do about the things that I have finished. which is sort of a hybrid of like sitting here, posting on Instagram and looking at the numbers on the screen in front of me and whatever. So it takes a lot of administration to deal with all of that. But I think the other thing is that, what would it be? Like, I got good pictures and stats up for some of my games, but not all of my games. Whatever. So I feel like if I decrease the chaos in this space, then perhaps my mind will be less chaotic and I can focus on things at least a little bit today. We can hope. And then as everything else ends up getting whipped into shape, then we can figure out stuff to do from there. Who knows? It may be the case where I spend a lot of today unpacking and debulking and all of that fun stuff. So who knows? Coffee's no longer warm and delicious. So I don't foresee any challenges to the recording schedule. It may be a day late next week. I'm thinking pretty hard about participating in Worldwide Knit and Public Day. So I think that'll be a lot of fun, but that may take my Saturday afternoon in which I normally podcast. Probably going on a long bike ride tomorrow with the Dear Sweet Local One. He's been agitating for that for a little while now. Just trying to figure out how to decrease some of the, what would it be? Trying to figure out what stuff I really want and what stuff I don't want. I want all my stash. I want all my tools. I'm pretty good with most of my clothes. It may be cathartic to ruthlessly cull the ones that have holes in them. That could feel good. Would it be? It's maybe a little bit sad that some of them do, but right now I have more t-shirts than reasonably fit in my dresser, so there is no reason to hold on to holy t-shirts when I can't even fit all of the t-shirts I own into one place. This is not my husband's philosophy, but whatever. There are some things that are in your control, and that is not in my control. Oh well. So, further quantification is going to occur, and it'll be fun. And further cleaning is going to occur, and for some reason that is also very satisfying as well. And then just being like comfortable in my yoga pants all weekend long. So, with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. So, take care, guys. Bye-bye.